Today, because it's behind schedule, will be very brief. And then, of course, having said that, we are going to be doing some things as well. I would be glad that I sent something to the group, which is like a workbook. I do not know if you see it. I'll be glad if some of us have systems there. We can open it on our system because I would love us to work on it. Today, we are going to be looking at personal leadership or self-leadership. And then we are basically we are going to be looking at how personal leadership or self-leadership can transform to personal and professional growth and the strategies to do that. The premise here is that no one can lead successfully other persons if you are not lead yourself. That means that there is no leadership if we have not led ourselves. Actually, leadership starts from the person. Until the person is able to lead himself or herself, he or she won't be able to lead others. So in leadership, we have what is called personal leadership. Then it goes to organization or corporate leadership. Then it goes to communal leadership. We believe that in leadership, there should be steps or there are ladders through which somebody become an effective leader all around. So in today's class, we are simply going to be looking at how well we can lead ourselves better or what strategies can we use. And then we are going to be doing some self evaluation. Today's class will be more of self-evaluation to see where we have been leading ourselves or where we have been doing well or doing less, and then what we can do to even better ourselves and do more better. So what do we mean when we say self-leadership or personal leadership? Self-leadership is the ability to influence your own thoughts, feeling, and action. Don't forget, John Maxwell said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's what John Maxwell said. So what it means is that nobody is truly a leader if you did not have the capacity to influence others. But in self-leadership, as put on by Brian, that if you are able to influence our thoughts, our feelings, and our action towards certain goals, towards vision, towards mission, toward actualization of our set objective, then we are self-leaders. And then it is this consciousness that we bear in mind that helps us to lead ourselves better. Then another premise is that until we are able to lead ourselves better, we won't be able to lead others. So sometimes when there are faults in leadership, sometimes when there are cracks and the leader is trying to find out what is wrong, in most cases, it is not those you are leading that is wrong. Sometimes, or in most cases, it is us. And that's why, as leaders, we need to do self-evaluation. We need to do an assessment of ourselves. So today's class is going to be more of assessment for us to look at, have I been leading myself well? Because it is when I lead myself well and the way I lead or I live, that is what will actually have influence over others. Yesterday, Dr. Miner gave a very good precursor, a very good foundation to others, where we are talking about influence. And then somebody asked a question, and then he said that you have to live the vision. That means that people must see some things before they are willing to follow. That means that it is important we learn to lead ourselves better before we can be able to lead others. So self-leadership is the ability to influence your own thought, your feelings, and your action towards certain goals or vision. It is crucial for our personal and professional growth. So we are going to be, in this presentation, predominantly, we are going to be focusing on strategies to lead ourselves better. But before we go into those strategies, I want us to open the self-evaluation questions that I put there. I do not know if we have it. I do not know if you have it. There is a workbook I sent. Can we, or let me share from my own slide here. I'll go back to this later. So I would love that we also open. And then, of course, I would also be glad. I will be glad if we are all able to. Let me see. Okay. So now we can get our sheet of paper. Like I've said, this is more of a self-evaluation class. I hope everybody can hear me. Am I audible, please?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Please do want to take a paper and a pen and everything. Now, the first thing to start with, yesterday somebody was talking about, we talked about vision, we talked about mission, we talked about core values. And then I knew we were going to do a class on this today, so I did not talk about it. So we, as a self-leader, to start with, in leading yourself well, you must have a clear vision, mission, and core values. And that is why and of course, you must have clear goals. That is where your leadership starts from. That is how you can lead a life. And then when you start to lead yourself, people begin to see automatically that in you. And then naturally you begin to gain influence over others, because influence is earned. And this is one of the things I tell leaders. You do not force influence, or you do not force impact. Leadership is not because of position that you, of course, positional leadership, we have that. Leadership is by virtue of the influence that you have, and influence and respect is earned. So because the influence you have is a combination of how you are living or how you are leading. That is how you can have influence. So what makes you to lead well, your own self well, is number one, having a vision, having a mission, having core values, and having goals. These are what you call the cause of leadership, or the cause of self-leadership. So in 1 minute, in 3 or 4 minutes, let's read that way. I will want everybody to answer this question, and then if possible, you can put it in the comment box, in the chat box. You tell us your vision. I did this. I do not want to assume. There was a leadership program. I did something like this, and then I was shocked that the over 80% of people present were not able to write anything that spot. So in most cases, when I teach on personal leadership like this, I do not assume that we all have all of these things. But let's start with, can we do well to write our vision, our mission, and our core values as leaders? Let's start with that. In 3 minutes, I'll be expecting that, please. I hope you cannot get what I'm trying to say. Am I clear enough? Hope everybody can see my screen and hear me very well. I want to be sure the network has not kicked me off.
Yes.
Yes, we can see and hear.
Okay. So
hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to be sure that the network has been quite bad. I want to be sure it has not kicked me out. Okay, so can we have that? while we do that, there'll still be room for discussions as well. We will have 1 or 2 discussions as we move on. So if you have, kindly provide me with your answer. So I would appreciate that we have it. Vision, mission, core values. We are going somewhere, and the journey is not far. Very short journey. We will soon be done, but we want to establish something that will serve as a link between yesterday and today, and the link for the rest to come. This is very, very important for leaders that we must do. So it is. For you to also know that I've done my own. Let me also put down my now. Okay, some people have started to do that. Okay, I observed that some of us have not done. While we wait for others. Now, why do we need, as a leader, to have this course that we have mentioned? Your vision is like a compass. Your vision is like a compass. It is what gives you direction. And then I have observed over time that you cannot lead people well if you do not have a specific direction you yourself are going. Now, there is difference between, I want us to get this straight. There is difference between having a corporate vision. Yes, people buy into a corporate vision, but before they buy into the organization, they first buy into you. And that is why a lot of, but we have vision. Most of the time, fortunately, I consult for about 40 schools now in Nigeria. We are trying to expand across schools in Africa. Now, most of the time, we have vision and statement, we have vision statement, we have mission statement, we have this in our school. But it seems that these teachers, these people that I employ, they are not buying into this. That's the complaint I get every single time. And then one of the response I usually give when school owners or school leaders mention is that people do not care what you want to achieve. They care first about who you are. And then who you are is as a function or is reflective in the way you lead one and in the direction you are headed. So I usually task leaders with
my mission.
Every leader is expected to have a vision, and core values. Please, do it to move so we can enjoy the flow. Thank you. We will see that there will still be questions. We'll still have questions. Okay, so leaders will lead themselves well, or will lead a life that is worthy of influence, that can influence those that they want to lead, when they themselves have the personal vision, a personal mission, and a personal core values. But over time, from my research and from interactions I've had with leaders over time, I have observed that over 80% of leaders do not have this. 10% have, but they just have it written in their head, not written down. There is no space out. And then I do, but the time will not permit me to do that. If it's something that you're just thinking of, I usually know, because your level of communication about it would have shown that because of a particular program, that's why you're coining it up. I usually, if it's a physical program, I would have told people that, okay, sir, this thing you are just coining it up. It's not that you have it on ground before. But it is important. That's where we start from now. So the foundation first, I'm establishing 7 things in this lesson today. The first thing I've established so far is that you cannot lead others well if you have not led yourself. That's number 1. Then number 2, leading yourself involves being able to influence yourself, your own thoughts, your own action towards a particular direction. Number 2. Number 3 things I'm establishing here is that leadership is influence, and then influence is earned, not bossed. That is where most school leaders miss it. Influence is earned. You do not influence someone per se just because you are the leader of that person. No, the person, as by virtue of your position, could also, you ask him to do this, he's doing. You ask him to do it, he's doing, just because of the position that you owe, that you earn. However, you do not if your thoughts and everything do not influence that person. So those are some of the things we want to. So, and how do you lead yourself first? It's breaking. We can't hear you again. Every leader must have a vision. In my own case now, my vision is clear. I want to raise 10 million leaders. Now, once I have had that vision, apart from my mission is very clear again. My mission is simple: to inspire, to influence, to impact people. That's my mission, very clear. Now, my core values lies on service, relationship, and then excellence. And that is why, if these things have become part of you and have been internalized, you display it naturally, and people could see it. And you, most people that work with me will say, if this thing is not up to what's it called, this person will not take it. They know me for that, because I usually tell them one of the things I value most is excellence. I want such that if you are not going to do it, let you not do it at all. And people that have been attending, if you can even bear with it, people that have been attending Emerald program, we said excellence is a norm. People that have been attending Emerald programs like that, they know that we do not do something short of excellent, because that is one of my core values. It's something I owe there. So what is a core value? A core value is something you owe there, that it describes you. That thing, that core values is something you hold there that describe you. Every leader that wants to lead well must have this. So, and then your mission is what you are here to do, or what you are there to do as a leader. So leading well requires that we have these three things. So the focus of this, what's it called, that is that, and the challenge is that if we do not have a well-crafted one, or we have not done that before, or because of this program, we're just doing it. I would want us to go back and sit down and have a well-crafted vision, mission, and core values. It is from your vision that you can set goals. It is from vision that you set goals. And that is why, for instance, these school leaders was easy for us to start, because my vision is to raise 10 million leaders. And then now the goal will not be every single year, let me start raising 100 leaders. From there, it now become action. What action am I going to take? Number one, create a school leader program. Number two, go to school, train leaders, and so on and so forth. So you can see the lessons of yesterday with how we are trying to conjoin it with today. The actions that we have talked about yesterday, the goals that we have talked about yesterday, was only stem from the personal vision that we have. Then, and personally again, we are able to lead ourselves because we have a clear direction of leadership, how we want to lead. And then people know me for another thing again, is that if my vision as a leader do not align with an organization I literally do not join the organization. People know me for that. I have had a lot of offers where, and then the first thing I work with, when I enter an organization, but before I enter an organization, I will tell you, can I see the vision, the mission, and the core values of this organization? I will now sit down and see, does this align with my own? And that is why sometimes when leaders tell me, I'm having problem with this organization, this isn't that, sometimes I trace it to the fact that the vision and the mission of that leader is not in tandem with that of the organization is working in. There is no way you can lead well. It's as simple as that. And that is why, as a leader yourself, you must lead yourself first by having your vision and core values, so that by the time you want to lead others, people could see that this man is a man of vision, mission, and core values. Actually, that will be an influence. Okay, so that's generally what personal leadership is all about. Influencing your thoughts, and what influences your thought, word, and action is the vision, the mission, the core values, and the goals that you have. Now, let's move on to another part of this interesting, what's it called? I hope we are able to get that one clearly, and I want us to start working on, because this one is more practical. There'll be a time we are going to have some discussion. Now, I want us to be looking at how we can rate ourselves. Then, like we have said, we have established that personal leadership involves influence over our thoughts, action, the way we live our life, the way we lead ourselves. That means that if I am unorganized personally, there is every tendency that I will be unorganized as a leader in my organization. Do you agree with that? If you agree with that, please put a yes there. I'm just saying that if at a personal level, I am an unorganized person, I just do things anyhow, it will reflect in the organization I lead. If you agree with me on that, please put yes. If you do not agree with me, put no. Okay, thank you. I love those I love those. Thank you. I love that. So why am I saying this? I'm saying it because it is what you do at the personal level that reflects at the organization level. And that's why if people are not following you, sometimes, yes, there could be some cases where we get to some topic. That is a topic we are going to be treating called how to build a team. Although it will get to something, it is because the people do not want, but at some point we'll talk about that one. But 90% of the cases, if people you are leading are not following you, is because you are not leading yourself well first. People naturally follow leaders that are leading themselves well, that have influence over themselves. It is when you have it over themselves, what you do at the personal level will translate to the organizational level. There is no two way about it. Okay, so in this second aspect, we want to look at this your personal skill. Sorry, I made a mistake. I wanted to write personal skill. It was supposed to be a personal skill. Your personal skill and qualities, because this is what can translate to an organization. If you are a poor decision maker at the personal level, that you cannot make some decision as a person, there is no way you are going to be able to make effective decision as a leader. And that is what we are treating. The essence of today's class is for us to explain how we do at the personal level, so that when we begin to do all this leadership training, all this leadership talking, we have a lot of topics to treat with, so that they can have meaning, so that they can have impact on our leadership. Because if you are poor personally, as a personal leader, you are not leading yourself well, no matter the training that you have. Until you correct those personal deficiencies, you won't be able to lead well. I hope you agree with me in that. So we want to look at it. So I want this one might be a rhetorical question. What you are going to do for me is, you want to rate yourself. You want to rate yourself in some of these things: excellent, very good, good, average, poor, very poor. Now, this is a self-reflection. I do not expect you to put it in the comment box, but like I said, you should be there with a jotter. Let's be there with a jotter and let's be there with a jotter and a pen. Now, in terms of decision making, what's your rating? Please put it there. Reflect on some of the practices you have now. I'm not talking about you as an organization person. I'm talking about at a personal level now. How well have been your decisions over time? Please put it down. Then in terms of management as well, how good are you as a manager? Rate yourself. Now, you are not doing this to kill yourself down, or you are not doing this to weigh down yourself or look down yourself, or we are doing this self-analysis because we need to start working on ourselves at the personal level. Then we can go into the leader that we want to be at the organization level. That's what we are doing, so that we will know where to start paying attention to, where we are going to be start paying attention to. Okay, so then again, look at your accountability. How accountable have you been to yourself and to people around you first, as a person? And then how well do you assess yourself? So let's look at that. Now, another one is, let's look at how well you are organized personally as a person. How well are you organized? Organization and problem solving. Then how well have you been able to solve personal problems on your own? Rate yourself. And then in terms of communication and relationship, how good are you? You rate yourself as well. In terms of communication and relationship, how good are you? Rate yourself. Then in terms of goal setting and goal getting, how good are you? In terms of goal setting and goal getting, how good are you? So if you have been able to do that successively, please put it down. We are still coming back to a particular thing that we are going to do, and then you are going to be working on it immediately after I finish some of the strategies and some of the things. Okay. I hope we can get that. So this what's it called is on the group. So now let's go back to what I want to have with us. Now, why do we need to lead ourselves first? Why must we be a personal leader first? Why should we have personal leadership? Now, to start with, one of the importance of personal leadership. One of the importance of personal leadership is that it helps you to have a clarity of purpose. Personal leadership helps you to have a clarity of purpose. In that, okay. Now, in that, when you are able to lead yourself, where you have a personal vision, a personal mission, a personal core value, you have personal goals that you are pursuing as a leader, you have clarity of purpose. And then this clarity of purpose will translate to organizational clarity of purpose, because you understand yourself as a leader. You know your purpose. You know why you are there as a leader. You know who you are as a leader. So nobody can confuse you for who you are to who you should be. And that is one of the reasons, one of the problems also that leaders face. By the time they get into leadership or begin to lead, they get confused along the line of who they are and who they should be to the people they are leading. So, but if you have been taking conscious effort to lead yourself, you are clear about who you are and who you want to be to people that you are leading. And then this clarity of purpose usually help you earn the respect from those that you are leading. That's number one. Number two, when you lead yourself, you become increased. There is increased self-awareness. You are able to get aware about who you are, your strength, your weaknesses, and your opportunities and your threats. The SWOT analysis. By leading yourself and paying conscious. Now, personal leadership is an intentional and a conscious effort. So you pay attention to the person you are, the person you are becoming, and the person yourself you are leading. So you are taking conscious effort. So by making conscious effort, you begin to realize that, oh, this is why I've not been able to do this. These are some of my weaknesses. For instance, yours could be you are not being accountable to yourself. You just manage resources. You just use resources anyhow, and there is no basis for accountability. And then you observe that will also translate into your leadership in your organization. That in your organization there are no transparent and there is no transparency and accountability, because people just do things and then nobody is accountable for it. It's because at the personal level you have not been accountable. If it becomes part of you, then you translate it ordinarily to the organization. Everybody becomes accountable, because you yourself, you are accountable to yourself and to others. So when you lead yourself well, you become more self-aware about yourself, your strength, your weakness, your skill, your capacities, your competencies, and the like. Another one is that when you lead yourself, personal leadership will help you to self-discipline. You are now that you understand yourself, you are able to discipline yourself from who you are and who you used to be to who you want to be, which require high level of. So you begin to you begin to develop self-discipline to begin to achieve things at the personal level. And then when you begin to achieve things, skills, competencies, quality at the personal level, naturally is going to reflect on the organization, on the people that you lead, because it will be evident. For instance, at the end of this training session, like after the 16 days you have used, then you have learned some things, and then you begin to apply it to your own personal life, and you begin to use it. By the time you get back to your organization, after 1 month or 2 months, you will observe that some of your subordinates will begin to call you, man, I noticed that. I don't know if you have given him, we are going to talk about team later. If it's a team that you have built that are open and that are, what's it called? Somebody will just walk up to you, Sama, I love this that you are doing. I noticed that things like have been changing. You've not been doing this before. Now you are not doing it. They will observe and notice those changes. Because why? You have become more self-disciplined to who you should be. And then who you should be is now emerging. And of course, it is reflecting on those that you lead and your organization. Another one is that when you lead yourself well, you have an increased confidence to lead others. When you lead yourself well, there is an increased confidence to lead others. There is an increased confidence to lead others. Another one is that you are able to achieve goals at the personal level. I usually tell leaders that oftentimes when you see an organization not achieving what they want to do, of course, I hope you understand that. Well, when we get to team building, we'll talk about that. I hope you understand that every rise and fall of any organization is hinged on the leadership. Leadership is everything. So if your organization is not performing, then it is on the leadership, on you as a leader. And this mindset helps us to understand that leadership is responsibility. So as a result of that, because we understand that leadership is responsibility, we want to build ourselves first as a person, such that when you are achieving goals at the personal level, it will be easy to translate that energy into your organization. So your organization will achieve those goals at the organizational level. So the core of what we are saying today is that we must get it right at the personal level before it begins to reflect on the organization and the people that we lead. So when you lead yourself well, a personal leadership will aid in effective goal achievement. It will also help in personal growth and development, because now you are now conscious of who you are and who you want to be. So you are making conscious effort to improve over time. You improve yourself as a person and as a leader. These are a few of the importance of personal leadership. Now we will go to some of the strategies we can employ to lead ourselves. Some of the strategies we can employ to lead ourselves. We must set clear goals. As a personal leader and as a leader, it is important that we set, Dr. Minor mentioned goals are smart or smarter goals now, where you are going to be having specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, and then of course, we are also looking at you are able to evaluate it and it's become realistic enough. So it is important that we set smarter goals now. It's important we set smarter goals such that we understand, now that we understand that we have a vision, and this is how it works practically now. As a person, I understand my personal vision. I understand my personal mission as a leader, and I understand my core values. So some of the next thing for me, some of the things I do is to set clear goals around it, that this is who I want to become. So if I set goal based on the vision, if I'm supposed to raise, if my vision is to raise 10 million leaders, for instance, like I've said, if my vision is to raise 10 million, that means that I must raise leaders that will raise leaders. That's it. So my first point of goal when I started being intentional about this, and raise leaders that can raise leaders. So that means that even within the organization I work with, this personal vision still work with me. And that is why people that surround me within those organizations and the like, understand that what we are trying to do within this organization, that as far as we are trying to organize or achieve organization goals and the like, we are also raising leaders who will also raise leaders. So our programs, our activities, and everything are revolving around these things, these goals that we want to achieve. Then the same with you as a leader. If you understand the vision, the mission, and that, the next thing for you is to begin to set clear goals. Who are you? And that's what we did to assess ourselves. Then who do you want to become as a leader? Then once you understand who you want to become, you begin to write those goals. Okay, this is what I want to become. This is what I want to become. Then this is what I must do. That will be action plan. You set goals that I will do this to achieve this. I will do it. Then later on, you now begin to, okay, once the goal is clear, you begin to set action plan. So in personal leadership, we expect that we establishing clear goals that provides direction and motivation and enable you to focus your effort and measure your progress respectively. Okay, so having said about self goals, again, another strategy to improve our personal leadership is to build self-awareness. I usually tell people, all of us, most of us are usually shocked that you will find out that you do not even know yourself in 100%. No person knows himself at 100%. So what we need to do as a personal leader now, and as leaders that are leading ourselves, is to begin to build self-awareness, taking pain and action in understanding ourselves more. The more you understand yourself, the more you are able to you get aware about your capacity, your skill, your strength, your weaknesses, and the more you're able to translate those things into developing yourself and eventually helping your organization. So it is important you build a conscious effort to build self-awareness, trying to understand our limitations, trying to understand our strength, trying to understand our weaknesses, trying to understand our competencies, trying to understand our skill, trying to understand our challenges, trying to understand our personality, trying to understand our temperament, trying to understand our person. So when we begin to build this self-awareness and we get more aware about who you are, even our values and the like, it tends to translate into the way we lead our life, and of course, help us in leading our organization better. Another one is that we should embrace very close to self-reflection, and that's one of the things we did every single time as a leader. To lead ourselves well, we must build self-reflection. We must take time. That was the time somebody was sharing with me that he doesn't have time, and I said, well, if you do not have time for yourself, there is no way you are going to have time for others. It's as simple as that. So what do I mean by that is that it is important as leaders we take time to reflect on ourselves. In fact, most of the recommendations I give is that every single week, take time, 30 minutes, 1 hour, to reflect on yourself and the organization you are leading. How have you been leading yourself, your own life? It comes first, because it is the way you lead your own life that translates to the way you are going to lead others. So how have you been leading your own life? Are you leading in such that you are pursuing the goals, the vision, the mission, and you are living your core values? You reflect on this every time. Then later on, you now begin. Another one is you now reflect on your leadership. Are you leading in the same energy to achieve those goals within your organization? So self-reflection is important for leaders. But most of the time, as leaders, we get too busy so that we do not have time to reflect. And then it is this reflection that gives an assessment give us a clear of an assessment of what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong, and help us to adjust where necessary. Most leaders are leading like a train that is not coming back. And in most cases, when you lead like that, without any self-reflection to checkmate you, on the long run, you see that you make constant errors. It is reflection that gives you a check and balance. So it is important that leaders are able to reflect, embrace self-reflection. Now, it is also important that as personal leaders, we cultivate a growth mindset. I have observed, and then I usually tell leaders that you are leading is not an excuse that you cannot grow. In fact, leadership should encourage you to seek growth more. But I noticed that most people believe that because they are in leadership now, they know a lot, and of course, because of the virtue of their experiences, they now know a lot. Then they have set a limitation to their growth. It shouldn't be like that. As self leaders, we must cultivate a good mindset such that will help us to begin to continually seek our time to grow ourselves. Please, I want us to understand this very well. The key point or the focal point here is ourselves first. Because it is that person that wants to lead others, right? So the person must be well led by himself before he can lead others. So today's teaching is not focusing on how we are leading others. Today's teaching is focusing on ourselves, how we are leading a life that could influence our leadership in the organization. So it is important that as leaders, we cultivate a growth mindset such that we are growing as a person. When we grow as a person, we will grow as a leader. It's as simple as that. So cultivating a growth mindset is very important. And then very similar to that is continuous learning. As leaders, there was a time, okay, this is on a lighter note. There was a time I had a leadership class. It was not on personal leadership. I think it was team building. If I can remember, it was either team building or peak performance. I could remember that. Now, one of the questions I asked the leaders there was very simple. I was struck the answer I got. That leaders in this organization, I think they were about 24. May I ask everyone that how many persons have read books on leadership, at least minimum of 12 books, minimum of 3 programs, and I stated about 4 or 5 things. I think I mentioned programs, leadership program, books. I mentioned audios. I mentioned mentorship session and the likes. How many of you have done this in the last 1 year? I was shocked that only one person that stood up just read about 2 books in a single year about leadership. And I was like, okay, how do you lead yourself first? Talk less of people leading others when you are not pursuing learning to grow and become better. So one of the strategies to lead better, one of the strategies to even lead your own life as a person is to seek continuous growth. As a leader, it is important. My recommendations are always that ensure that you are reading books on leadership. I usually recommend 12 because that's what I do. So I do not recommend more than that. But if you have the capacity, but personally, I make sure that as a person, I read 12 books on leadership every single year. And then I make sure that I attend at least 3. Now I have done 2. The remaining one for this year. I tell people what I don't do, I don't ask you to do. I attend at least 3 programs on leadership every single year. And then I make sure that I listen to audios. At the minimum, I listen to 5 audios. And then last week, I had a leadership discussion with one of my leadership mentor, who is Keisha Tor, the global teacher partner. Is also a principal in Washington, D.C. Now, why am I saying all of these things? It is important as leaders, we continually make conscious effort to learn. It is not because something is coming, and that's why, because for instance, when I did this year, I did this same personal leadership analysis that we are doing now, and I observed that over time, I've not been accountable, and I've not been able to relate the way I should. So I took programs on leadership relationship, and then of course, I now begin to understand that, okay, this is where I'm not the person even started by saying that if you do not relate with yourself well, that there is a level of relationship you have to have related with yourself first before you can relate well with others. That you should relate with yourself. It now begin to break it down for us that this is how to relate with ourselves. And then I noticed that there are significant. I'm still improving. Why am I saying all of this? Is because I have taken it as a conscious effort to continually learn, because I want to be a better leader as a person. And then when I get to my organization, I want to also lead well. Like I've said, it is what is in me or what the way I'm leading that will reflect in the organization. That is, you cannot hide it. I tell leaders that there is no way you can, no matter how long it is, you want to hide that. These are your deficiencies, these are your strengths, these are your this is how you are leading yourself. It will ultimately show over time. And then that is what will determine whether you are going to have influence on the people you are leading or not. And then when there is no influence, you are not leading. You are only managing or bossing. That's the simple truth. It's very simple. And that is why we have to work on ourselves first. So it is important that we take conscious effort to continually learn. And that is what I said about when we are doing that analysis. So we can see where we are deficient and then where we can start working on as leaders. Okay, so another time is we should that can help us is to cultivate emotional intelligence. But if you develop emotional intelligence, it enhances your personal leadership such that you are able to manage your emotions and understand the emotions of others. When you lead yourself well, you understand the level of your emotions, how it is, and by understanding your own, it will give you a good understanding of how you should also understand the emotions of others so you can lead them better. So personal, one way is to cultivate emotional intelligence, paying attention to your own emotion so that it becomes an habit, so that you're also able to pay attention to the emotions of others. Like I said, what you can do for yourself, there is high tendency you can do for others, because what you don't have, you cannot give. And leadership is giving. You are giving your skill, your experience, your knowledge, your capacity to people so that they can become better first. And then when they become better, they are able to better the organization. It's a simple analogy. So what you do not have, you cannot give. So it is when you have emotional intelligence with yourself that you understand your emotion. You pay attention to your own emotion. You're able to do it with others. Like I've said, personal leadership is a reflective one, such that it reflects who you are. And then, of course, it can give you a clue why you have been leading the way you have been leading. The way you are leading your organization, you are leading like that because that is where you are leading your life. So it is important that we pay attention to this. Then, of course, we build emotional intelligence, and then we nurture relationship. Like I've said, when you are a personal leader, it helps you. The first thing is you are able to relate well with yourself. Relating well with yourself is not a topic for today because it is more deeper, but I will take time to maybe during our interactive session, if there are questions on that. So relating with yourself requires that, for instance, if you want to relate with others, you want to first understand their emotions, their strength, their weakness, their aspirations, and everything. Then you now begin to, after that, you now begin to get closer to know them more, and then know what they want, what they do not want, how you can do this. The same thing applies to you. So paying attention to yourself and allowing that both your mind, your spirit, and soul have a stronger connection. It will interest you that some people do not have a connection with their soul. Yes, they have a body that is moving, but there is no deep connection with their soul. So it is personal relationship involves, or nurturing personal relationship involves having a deep connection with yourself. By understanding yourself, knowing yourself, and relating well with yourself, you now begin to build capacity to nurture relationship with others. Personal leadership helps you to achieve abilities. Then on the ultimately, when you engage in personal leadership, you are able to influence others because the way you are leading your life naturally influences others, whether positive or negative, as a leader. So that is why the ultimate goal is that you want to influence others positively. So personal leadership, when you lead yourself well, or you are an effective personal leader, you are able to influence others positively. Okay, now having said that, I will also go back to what we have started the other time on this discussion on self-reflection. Now the next thing in our we still have time for questions. Now, of course, I will still have 1 or 2 questions. Now, the next thing is that we should now begin to look at how do we begin from here. Like I've said, to start from here, we must have vision, mission, core values, and then all these skills and personal quality I've talked about, we must begin to build them consciously so that we can begin to lead ourselves well. So now that we have rated ourselves, we know where we are weak, we know where we are strong. The next thing for us to now do is to begin to set quality goals on how to improve our own person. Like I've said, when we improve our own person, it will automatically reflect in the way we lead. People will see. People are not dumb. If you are leading and then you are bossing people up and down, you must do this, do that, and that, people will do because of the virtue of position, because they know if they don't obey you, they have a problem. The organization will not move forward, this and that. But actually, what you are doing is that you are just bossing. You are not leading. And that's where most school leaders, I have found that over time, that's where most school leaders miss it. They think they are leading, but on the, what's it called, they are actually bossing. So it is important that when we begin to build these things, it will reflect naturally and people begin to get positively influenced by us. And then from there, the organization begin to go. So our next point of, what's it called, now is this action. Is you are going to write it down. Then once you write it down, you are going to reflect on it and sit down and that, how do I begin to, these qualities and skill that I must have as a person. How, of course, you can add your own to it, please. If you think there are other things that has not been mentioned here, this, I put this together because I felt that if you have this, you at least about 70 or 80%, you'll be able to lead yourself so well. So so you can add your own. So the next task is for you to begin to identify. Now that you have rated yourself, now you start with your strength first, then to your weakness. For me personally, now I usually get open with my participant. When it comes to decision making, a bit good. When it comes to management, I will still put it at good, yes. When it comes to accountability, I'll put it at average because I told you I'm just coming up. And organization, I'm excellent. When it comes to communication, I'm excellent. When it comes to goals to setting, I'm extra excellent. I set goals and we achieve immediately. And even in our organization, everything we said we wanted to achieve, we achieved it because personally, my own life, I achieved my goals. And so this people can see that energy and the energy has translated to the team. They know that if we are saying we are achieving this, nothing stops us. So it is very important that we do that. So now I know that my focal point now, my first goal is under this accountability and assessment, that I'm average. I want to become very good with it. So I've set goals in that line. Then the ones that I'm also still excellent with, I've also set goals to be able to translate it to others. The ones that I'm excellent with, please take note of what I've said. The ones that I'm good with, because my vision is that to raise leaders that will raise leaders, I want to translate those skills into others and help them to also to teach them how they can translate it, because I have the personal vision of raising those leaders. So what we are going to do again for me is to also write your own down like this. What is your goal in becoming better at these things that we have mentioned? What are the action points that you are going to take? And what is your deadline in achieving? What are the challenges you think you can face in trying to achieve to become a better person with these skills and qualities? Then how do you measure that you have really reached your goal? So I will prefer personally this, I would want you everyone to share with me. Not now, I will request for it later on as we go on in this program. Everybody should feel and submit. Let me go through and during our interactive session, because we are going to have interactive and strategy session later on in the program. That those will be last days of the program where we are going to be looking at, okay, this is the problem I'm facing, these are the challenges I'm facing. Then we'll bring experts, they will talk about it. And I'll be having one-on-one session with people that you want to have one-on-one session with, so we can also discuss leadership and what you are facing. So I want everybody to work on this workbook for me and achieve that. Okay, so having said that, it is important to also know that because as personal leaders, we must grow. As personal leaders, we must grow. It is important that we have learning and growth goals, because the more we grow and learn as a person, it will reflect in the way we are leading. If you are deficient in knowledge, if you are deficient in skill, if you are deficient in attitude, if you are deficient in experiences, it will show in your leadership. There is no two way about it. People will know, and it will be very, very glaring. So the next point of call will be, as from now, as a personal leader and as a leader, what are your learning and growth goals? Please write them down. I will also suggest that you put it as short, medium, and long-term goals. What are your learning goals as a leader from now? Because we are taking action. What are your learning and growth goals? The short-term goal, the medium-term goal. For instance, in my own case, my short-term goal is quite simple: to read as many books as possible. But my long-term goal is to meet with some certain persons to also learn from them directly. That's my long-term. For instance, Grant Cardone, John Maxwell, I've sent them mails. Some of them have responded to me, okay, at one point I'll be having this, I will have opportunity to meet with them. Sometimes we can schedule and the likes. So those are my long-term, because it will not be easy for me to get to meet with some of these leaders that I aspire to meet with, so that it can impact me more. My long-term goal is to meet with them. That's my long-term. But my medium-term, while I'm still doing that, is to learn from their books, attend their conferences if it's online, live, and so on like that. So you too, as a person that wants to grow, ensure that you write your learning and your growth goals: the short-term, the medium-term, and the long-term. And then finally, also put in what's it called that? What personal qualities do you think will help you to lead yourself better? Now, what do we mean by this? We must, as leaders, we must consider the personal qualities and we begin to cultivate them. Now, one of the personal qualities for me that I am working on and I'm still building up is ability to have open heart. I observe that over time, I do not have this open heart to take corrections in most cases. So one of the things I want to do is to help myself in building these qualities, because it is this quality that will help me to get positive feedbacks from the learning growth I've embarked upon. And then with this positive feedback, I can improve myself as a person and then begin to lead better my life. So qualities like that. So I want us to also put, what are the qualities do you think you need that will help you to lead yourself better? It is also important that we put it. So overall, as I begin to reflect on this moment, I know our time is fast spent. Overall is that what we have established in this session is that we cannot lead others if we have not led ourselves. That's number one. And then we have said that number two is that leadership is influence, and influence is earned. You only have influence on people because you have earned it, because the way you have led, and then they can see and they are following. So the influence is earned. So as a leader, we must begin to think in that direction, that It is not about bossing people up and down and telling them this is what you must do, this is what you must do, and this and that. Yes, this is good. We have to give instructions and the like, because we are also, as leaders within the organization, we are also managing the resources of the organization, including people. However, it goes much more than management now. In fact, there is a concept I'm introducing to the classroom called classroom leadership. I have a course I'm developing on that. It's done already. That I believe that it is 21st century is much more beyond managing now. And that's one of the things educators get from. We manage, we do not lead. And management is you are just making sure the status quo is maintained. That's management. Leadership is you are influencing people to do more, even beyond what their capacity, because they are so inspired to want to see that things we achieve results. They are not doing it because they have to do. They are doing it because it is now our thing we must do. That's leadership. And the same thing must be applied to the classes, because students must not see that because they have to learn, that's why they are learning. We want to inspire them to become a better person. That's classroom leadership. So in that case, it is important that as leaders, we understand that leadership is influence, and then influence is earned. And then it is only earned when we have led ourselves well, and people are seeing that we are leading a life worthy to follow. Then we have also established that as personal leader, we must have vision, mission, and core values. And then this will translate into having goals that will help us in navigating our own life. And then when we navigate our own lives, it should be evident for people to see and people can follow easily. We have also established that there are certain skills and qualities that help us to lead ourselves well. The first thing for us is to assess these skills. Are they excellent in us? Are they this and that? And then after that, if they are not enough, what are the steps? What are the goals we are going to take to ensure that we improve these skills so that we can lead our own life well first, lead ourselves first before we lead others well. Then in this lesson, we have also been able to look at strategies that can help us to lead ourselves better. And then finally, we have looked at ultimately our learning goals. We have to continue to learn. We have established that to become better as a person, we need to continue to learn and grow. And of course, we need to identify the qualities that will make us to lead ourselves better. Finally, may I say that leaders in the house, it is important that we pay attention to ourselves first. Yes, it is good that we want the organization to go. It is good that we want everybody to be working. It is good that we want things to move well. It is good that we want the organization to achieve the vision and their mission and the life. It is good that we want to see people flourishing. Good. But this can only be possible if we have lead ourselves well. What we do not have, we cannot give others. That means that the influence we do not have over ourselves cannot be reflective in others. So we must build ourselves first. We must encourage ourselves to become better version of ourselves. This becomes reflective in the way we lead. And when people see it, they follow us as suit. Thank you. And I'm open to questions now. Thank you so much. So do we have anybody with questions? Do we have anybody with questions?
Yes, I have questions.
Okay, please. We have one. Please, can we raise up our? Yes, can we raise up our hand so we can know the number of people? We are a bit. I think we have used 1 hour. We have used 1 hour 15 minutes now. So I want to just. Okay, only 2 persons have questions. I will not be able to take another question after this. Please, if you have, you can signify now. So we take everything together. Okay. Now let's have your. Okay, Ms. Titila, I also have a question. Let me see. I think we have Barbara, Mrs. Barbara Afulanyo, Mr. Chipapi, and Mrs. Titila. Okay, so we have 3 persons. Okay, let's have who first raise up in here? Mr. Chipapi. Please, you can ask your question, sir.
Yeah, maybe let me let me thank, because my question is more of a comment than a question.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, we sometimes want to lead organizations, but we can't lead ourselves. So I think your presentation is very much loaded, such that I feel, you know, I feel a new person together. I always motivate people, but today I was more than motivated, because the challenge that you put on us reading books, you know, public speakers or good speakers will tell you, you cannot give people what you don't have. If I don't read books, there is in no way that I can be a better person. Or when you read only one book, you would think this one book would make you a better leader. And you might find there are 9 options that you can follow apart from the one that you know. I think mine is just to appreciate this program, is just to appreciate you, is just to appreciate the organization, and is to say we are learning and we are learning. I always tell people that every time I'm in the bath, if I bath 1 hour, 30 minutes is for me to reflect on what happened in the past and to plan for the day and the future. I have that time with myself. That one I have it. But you see, at least I'm happy you have given us a form that we can fill. How do I have seen somewhere you said excellent when you do something, you achieve it. When you do something, you achieve it. My question is, how do we make sure that we are on track to make sure that our vision are actualized? How can we make our mission make us achieve our vision? How do we track our events? How do you do it? So I think because sometimes I lack that. You find us having resolutions but not attaining them. Allow me to pause there.
Okay. Thank you. I thank you for that comment. I really appreciate your comment, and that's why we are here. Like I've told you, this is just the 3rd day. We have about a lot of sessions to continue. We are going to learn massively. It will shock you, some of the things we are going to learn here. That's why the program, myself, I'm also learning in the program. As I'm speaking, I'm also learning. So it will shock you, some of the things you are going to learn in this place. There will be massive learning. Now, so thank you for that comment you have, and that's why we are here. Now, let me say this. There is a part I do not mention. I don't know if I was actually looking at my time. I don't know if I put it in this slide. Now, to ensure that decision making, yes. Developing accountability, yes. Fostering resilience, yes. Overcoming challenges, part of it. The role of men. Now, to achieve our vision, and there are in leadership, there are 3 things that matters in leadership. Even as a personal leader, there is something that is called structure. There is something that is called system. There is something that is called strategy. I call them the 3 S of leadership: the structure, the system, and the strategy. And if this is present in your life, naturally, of course, there will be challenges. Don't forget that I've mentioned that as a personal leader, I didn't finish the slide. You must be able to overcome challenges. It's because when you overcome challenges as a person, that is when the challenges are in your organization, because you overcome it personally, you'll be able to translate that into it. Then, of course, I say you have to foster resilience and life, but we do not have time to do this. Now, like I was saying the other time, to achieve your vision as a person, you must have systems, strategy, and structures in place. What do I mean? Number 1 is that since you have vision, mission, core values, and goals, Dr. Minor was saying it yesterday, the strategies is how you intend to implement. So every single time and that's one of the things we should be doing in our reflection mode as leaders. We must reflect on the strategies that is, and Dr. Minor said something that interests me. your strategy must be so flexible that if things are changing, you can adapt. Even if you are in a new organization or new environment, your personal vision is not still killed because your strategies are flexible enough for them to be achievable. So to achieve our vision, mission, and life, we must have strategies in place. And when we have personal strategies to achieve this, then we will begin to develop it within organization that we are, so that we can have strategies of achieving them. Then after strategy is what is called system. System is how things work. How things work. For instance, I tell leaders that if peradventure you are in an organization and they that cannot do anything until you are there, you have no system in the organization. In the course of this program, I don't know, I think Mr. Dr. Additional will be coming to talk about system thinking. It is very, very important. System is such that how things work or how things are being done within an organization or in your life as a personal leader. So that means that you must have developed systems or routines or a framework through which you operate, such that whether you are there or not, whatever you still want to achieve is still being achievable. That's a system. The structure is who is making it to work. And I have observed that if you do not pay attention to these three things, as a person, as an organization, there is no way you can achieve your goal. Possibly what I will do is, I have invited Dr. Minor to talk about team building. I also take time to also talk about team building, so we can do the two together. And my own focus will now be on how we can build systems, structures, and strategy, because they are very, very important even in our lives. So, like I've said, strategy is how you want to implement your goals and vision and everything. System is how things work, the framework. Is it that when you wake up in the morning, like for instance, you can build a personal system. Naturally, it will get to a point. People even know you for that. When you wake up, the first thing you do is you brush your teeth. Then after that, you take your journal, you journal. After that, that's a system. And that is how organizations are being built. So by the time you get to a particular organization, they will tell you, this is our own system here. This is what we do here. When you wake up, when you come to the work in the morning, you sign. Once you sign, you go and greet 3 persons. After greeting 3 persons, you go and dance. After you dance, you do this. That's what is called system. How things work. That's the system. Then structure is who is making the system to work. What are on ground? What are the framework? Who are the people? What is the thing what is the machine? That's the structure. So everybody that want to achieve vision, mission, and life must have these 3 things. I hope I'll be able to answer your question because of time. Have I been able to answer it?
Very well, sir. Very well.
Thank you so much. But if there is more, we can have a personal conversation on that. Okay, Mrs. Barbara Afolayo, please, you can ask your question now.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a nice time with you. And I will really tell you have learned a lot. But first, you evaluated us. You did not check out what we submitted. So that
okay.
You give us feedback. I love feedback a lot. That's number one.
You know why? Okay, like I know before you continue, I just want to point out. I mentioned something the other time.
Okay.
I don't know if you get it. I said I would love that we work on that workbook and send to me. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. Okay. Okay, please continue.
Having at the end of the section. Okay.
Okay.
Next, you mentioned something earlier. In your statement, you said schools with good vision, missions, and core values.
Okay.
Is the kind of school you like working in. So sometimes you just walk into a school and then you ask them what's
okay. Yeah. I mentioned that. Yes. Clear cut. Yes.
You are good to go with them. Yeah. But you know that, and that means those kind of schools, they can do well. Right?
Those kind of schools. Hello? I'm trying to get your question now.
That's those kind of school they can do well. They can have
if those schools have goals and the likes, they can do it. I'm just trying to paraphrase what you are saying. I want to get it well.
Yeah. No, I'm just getting. I want to take it from your own point. What about there are some schools that have their cover is on point, their mission is on point, their vision is on point, but if you walk there or when you go in, it is not what you see. That's not what you get. It's not what you order. That's not what you get. You know that.
What you order is even what you see.
What you get. Because really, I have seen schools that the owners are not educators. So they pay people to do this job.
Okay.
They pay people to write out mission, visions, and core values for them. So they just put it in their school in a very beautiful place. And when you enter, wonderful environment. I'm in Abuja. Let me tell you to be specific. I'm in Abuja. So people believe in packaging here. I'm not hiding it.
Yes, I understand.
They believe in packaging here. So they'll have all of this. And when you go in, even just 1 month, even 1 week of working there, you go back again and read mission, value, and core value, and you ask yourself, really?
Yeah.
Is that what is happening here? So it's what you ordered versus what you got.
So I want to get.
It's not applicable everywhere.
Okay. I understand. I understand where you are. I understand where you are going. I totally understand. Now I've had experience. If I say I don't have experience like that, that means I'm lying. It's everywhere. So if I've said no, that's not it. You will see I'm lying. That means I'm lying. So let me start by saying that we have a lot of them. Currently I'm not, my base is not much. The schools I consult with in Abuja is not much. I only have just 2 schools. One special education center and 1 school in Lugbe. I don't want to mention the name of the school in Lugbe. Now those are just these 2 schools I consult for in Abuja. However, even whether it's Abuja or not, everywhere that is how it is. Where you have, and fortunately or unfortunately, I've also find myself in situations like this. At least, if not, like 3 times, if I can remember. So I can relate well with what you are saying. Now, you said it's not applicable everywhere. Yes, you are right. And that is where we come in as leaders. Although, I don't know, even if you are not a leader in that school, it doesn't matter. What personally I do, there is a particular school I worked with. I won't say the name. That the woman, what they hold the vision. This one is very, very big. In fact, the flex and everything they put it. And they usually say, they even have students that they should be saying it so that people can internalize it. But I found out that even when we are having meeting, I started to know, because this one was worse, because I thought people were even doing it because they made you to say it. They put it in a place where everybody will have to go there and stuff like those this packaging that what's it called. I didn't know till when we started having meeting, and then I began to hear what the school owner was saying. I was like, my head was pinpointing that. But you said you want to. This is our vision. This is our goal. How are we now saying something like this? It does not really relate. But I didn't talk for the first meeting I had there, because I came in. I think I came in as a teacher, yes. Then after, so because when they now got me, they said I was going to be HOD, but they said at least I must use 4 or 5. Then later on, I became HOD before I now became an administrative musical. But before then, I started making inquiries from people. I began to ask them. I first of all even understand that people do not even understand the vision. They are just saying it. And then the person that even did the vision, I was sure she was not the one, because she was a woman now. I was sure she was not the one that crafted that vision. Because if you see what she is saying and what she's doing and what it brings to the meeting and life, they are 2 things entirely. So I knew there was a problem. Before I left there, I effected something. So what I do generally, I stay true to my own personal vision in life. And later on, I was not the principal. I was not the vice principal. I was just HOD, because the agreement was they wanted me to organize the science department and the likes. So that they can be. So I was made HOD, I think after 4 weeks or so. So when I became HOD, I started having meetings with my own people. And then we started discussing how things will be. I told them, this is my personal vision. I want to raise leaders. It's like this. This is always. So when we started at that departmental level, then, and after the first term, because I used 2 years there, 2 solid years. After the first time, the changes within the science department was so loud that, in fact, I even told them this is what we want to achieve with our science students. At the end of this term, we want to have an average of 65 and so on. And this is what you do. This is what you do. And this is my vision. We are not even raising them as academic giants alone. We are raising them as leaders. So because we started with a program called Science Leadership. This say the leadership of science or science of leadership. I can't remember. So we started doing a lot of things. Then they themselves begin to see themselves as leaders, the teachers and even the students. Then within the first time, I noticed that the principal and everybody started getting closer to me. Then, so when they started getting closer, because naturally as a person, if you meet with me or if you have worked with me before, you can ask people around. I want to ensure I live the vision, the mission, and the core values I say I want. So naturally, you will see it in me. So they started asking questions and the likes. They started coming over. Then I don't know the woman, because I'm the type of person. If you do not call me, I will still come and meet you, but I will take my time to study everything so that I can have my fight. Because as a trained consultant, you take time. You just do open your mouth and talk, or what's it called? You take time and study very well. So I took time. I was analyzing the issues one by one, the issue that I've seen, the vision and the lies. So the woman called me one day, and I said, "Ma, I accepted this, what's it called? Because according to what you wrote as your vision, because personally, if I'm working with you, I want you to give me your visions. I want to see if we align, we can work." And I told the woman, okay, this is what I see that you wrote, that this is your vision and the mission and life. That is what I asked. And this is what you said is your goal that you want me to come and achieve. I saw it as a challenge I can take up. Now, after we had about 2 hours, later on, she needed to close door. Then I didn't tell her I started consulting then for school. I didn't tell her I was a consultant for school. I didn't tell her I didn't even mention everything. Later on, she asked me, "Are you a trainer, by a speaker, a consultant? Like, you sound more different than everybody I've worked with before." I said, "Well, I do." Then I was working with just 4 or 5 schools consulting. I said, okay. He said, he now begin to confess to me that, to be sincere, she did not this and that and that. Then by God's grace, I was able to at least help and start with restructuring. I told them I was not going to be principal. I told them I was not going to be vice principal. I'm not taking it from those people. But I understand what is called, because I've worked and read and lived what is called 360-degree leadership. I was leading from from the position they gave me. And then, of course, we begin to see changes. Yes, what am I trying to say is that, yes, it might not be totally true that it must align and realize that because where you find what you order is what you get. But that is where you as a person come in. When there is a certain way you lead yourself. There's a certain way you lead that the influence you will command, they will make them to start to align to some certain level. That's my take home from what we have said. That yes, it is true that it might not be so every time, but you have the power, and that is why you are here. That you have the influence to carry a powerful influence that can turn things around if they want to. And I've seen situations where they feel it as, this thing is too much. And I say, okay, if it's too much, I walk away. So we always have choices. I hope I've been able to, from my own personal experience, I hope I've been able to a bit answer your question, right?
Very well.
Mrs.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
so
you very
on
much.
on what you said about, yes, apart from what you have said about feedbacks, please, but like I've said, I want everybody to fill the workbook. Maybe I will send you the word format, so you can just fill it in. Then I will go through it. During our interactive session, I will give feedbacks. I think that's fun, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I want everybody, I want all of us to go and sit down. I don't want it to be a rush. I've seen I've seen some of the things we put here. Some of them are very, very good. But I observed that some of us, like I've said, I observed from my from my intuition that some of us have started just to put those things here. It's not that we have it written anywhere before. And like Mr. Chipapi have asked, another way to make sure that your vision, paste that your personal vision in life, paste it somewhere you can see every day. Even inside your office, paste it there. So that you can be reminded that as a person, this is who you are becoming as a leader. And then everybody that even see that, they know that this is what, people tend to follow someone that they understand that is already going somewhere. Direction matters in leadership. So it is very important. I would have given a lot of words, but whatever you have put it that I'll promise to personally study them and give us feedback one by one. I hope that is clear. Okay, I think Mrs. Titilaya wanted to ask a question. Mrs. Titilaya, are you there? Are you there, please?
Yeah.
Okay, please, can you just please
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you so much for this section. I really appreciate that. Well, my question goes.
What did you say?
I said thank you so much for this section. I've gained a lot. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
I want to have, you said personally,
okay,
explain oneself. Now you have leaders who are these kind of bossy leaders. You want to boss you around.
Your volume is down. I don't know what.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear now.
You have bossy leaders who want to boss you around. Well, you are this kind of person going to, you know what you want in life, and you don't want to dance to their tune, but they want to enforce, no, this is what I want, you must do it. And you don't feel safe in that kind of environment. What should you do? Then again, you have someone, maybe you're a teammate you're working with, but in that organization, they don't carry you along. They see you, okay, separate new staff from old staff. They don't carry you along. You do something there as an educator, you see some things that are wrong. And you're like, you don't even know where to go to, you don't know how to even check. These things are not done like this now. You're an educator. These are that, but you cannot even talk because in that way you don't even have right to speak. When you as a newcomer, you go down and they ask, oh, we do with people, they stressing you. I'm like, this is not my own will. I don't see things, and you feel you are not even happy because even the learners, you are not feeling. I'm doing as in I'm not fulfilled as an educator. I'm not getting what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, I think I get your question now. Okay, let me say this. Like we have said, when we started this program, during the opening ceremony, I said something. I said one of the reasons why schools are not thriving is because there are deficiencies in leadership. And one of the things this program, I wish we could have 120, 150, 250 people attending programs like this, especially leaders, so that they can come and learn. Because one of the things, like I've said, my experience in consulting for schools is that I have observed that most problem schools have are leadership problem. That if the leadership is right, even the teachers that they are complaining, because you see some school leaders, my teachers, sometimes and that's why people like us, we have learned to be so patient. If you start with a conversation with a school leader or a school leader, a principal, or sometimes we request that they come and we speak to them and realize, our school owner, some of the things you're going, those teachers, they are not serious. They are not doing their work. I have told them they are not following the rules. They are not doing this. That is all you are going to see. Sometimes you now begin to wonder if maybe they are not the one that employed them in the first instance. So most of the time, I have learned to be as patient as possible. So I don't jump just see whatever I'll be nodding my head. I say, I will tell you, we've seen that cases like that. A lot of teachers are not what I will. When you finish everything and I've documented what you've said, I will not start my own findings. And in most cases, although teachers have their own, will not lie, but in 90% of the cases, the thing is on leader. And like I've said, you are not a leader if everything you do is to be bossing people around. People obey you because they have to, not because they want to. That's a problem. That's a problem. And that's a problem we face in schools. And that's what this program is there. People are what's it called? Because they want you want to be bossing them around. Now, what I will in that case, with that kind of boss that you have, because you are still going to be a leader one day, don't revolt. Is one of the things I tell if you're an educator, then you're aspiring to be a leader one day, don't revolt, because I believe in the law of seed time and harvest. Even if what you are fighting for is right, even if you're on your right and you are the right one, never revolt, because it will come back to you. People will vote against you. It's a natural law. Never revolt. However, that is where the concept of 360-degree leadership come in. And that's why we're having programs like it that challenges us to read. If you have read 360-degree leadership, I hope you are following me. I want to conclude on something. Is that there is a way, even if you are not a leader yet, or you are not in a position to, there is a way that people want to pay a proper attention to them. Now, what I will say for you for that, if I'm right, which is to you, if I'm right, what you have said. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. What do you say?
I'm not getting you clearly. It's breaking, sir.
Oh, and I noticed it's your network. Can you get me now?
Yes, I can.
But you can talk.
Yes, our network. I will serve that. Okay, let me just say, you can message me if you don't get me. Just say then if you are not getting me well, you can send me personal messages. Then we'll also talk about it. Okay, but I will just say what I want to say, that everybody can learn from me. Now, like I've said, never revolt. If you have a leader that is bossing you around or that is maltreating you, and like, never revolt. I usually believe in that. Number one, and that is where your personal leadership come in. The way you lead your own self, people can start taking cue from it, and then they start to, of course, align and say, the way this person is doing this thing, how are you doing it? And they like I told you, I was not the principal. I told them I don't want to be the principal. I told them I don't want to be. I came here. The agreement I wanted to be an HOD of science. Then you see what I'm doing now to move me. I said no. Let those people there. But I've seen that those people they were coming around, the principal, the vice principal, even the school now. They now found out I was a consultant, and like they started asking for advice, consult, analyze. So I tell them this is what I think you should do, analyze. So you build your personal leadership such that your influence will be so much that it's irresistible. The person will come and ask, how are you doing it? What are you doing? Then secondly, like I've said, the third one, like I've said, don't revolt. You can do well to make a discussion with the person, and then let the person know where how he has been maltreating and analyzed. Some people might not even know. And then the funny part, some school leaders, they don't even know that they are bossing, that they are not leading. That's the most funny part of what we are talking about. It is when you now begin to analyze to them. You begin to give them lectures like this. They now say, I did not know. I was just doing what I was being instructed. I wanted to make sure. Some of them are even doing that of ignorance, or some of them are even doing it out of quote and unquote passion. But they don't know that passion is for them to be bossing. They are not actually leading because they don't understand the intricacies of leadership. So sometimes they do not even know. So it could be that. So I will suggest that you have a dialogue with the person. Then you let them see that you have been learning a lot about leadership. You have been learning a lot about improving yourself better in life, and you feel that you can develop the relationship more better with like this. You can work with this, and this is your thought about this thing. And then if the person is reasonable enough, then you can now say, okay, this is what I think I don't like that you are doing, and that's why I've been doing like this to you. Then with that, you guys can come to terms. However, if you have done all those things that I've talked about, you have dialogued, you did not vote, you are leading by example, you are leading what's called, and there is no changes. It is better to live an environment that will dampen or that will destroy the leadership capacity that you carry than to stay there. It will do you more harm than good. Yes, you want to earn a living. Yes, you want to make money. Yes. But however, there are some certain part of you that will never be fulfilled. Money does not bring fulfillment, although it gives temporary happiness and joy, but it does not bring fulfillment. Fulfillment is coming from you doing what you know how to do best, and you are getting result from it. That's where fulfillment comes from. So it is important that you understand this. And then if cases like this still repeating, you have tried to consult with the person, and possibly if this person have hierarchy, that you can find a way of letting the person know, and then of course they talk to the person, and then the person is still not doing what he's supposed to do. I will suggest you never work in a toxic environment. Any environment that is not bringing the best out of you is not for you. Trust me. And that's what I can say. Then on, I think you mentioned, I'm trying to remember the second one. They do not carry you along and the lives. They don't carry people along. It's one of the battles we face in education organization. And the is maybe because the way I've worked with education organization, I have begun to understand this. It's one of the reasons why we started this program. To God, women, to be very sincere, we started this program because we observed those deficiencies. You just see some persons. Okay, this is what we do in our school. I've spoken to. In fact, there was a time I needed to say, "Ma, I do not think I'm going to work with your school again," because I observed that woman was like, this is how we do it. And like, yes, but they don't understand that, yes, systems are good, but systems can be flexible such that it accommodates diversities, it accommodates inequalities, it accommodates various aspirations and characters and that. But most people do not know that systems are dynamic and flexible. So when you are beginning to work in an environment, when you work in an environment where they are not, in fact, it's one of the things that will not make the school to achieve results. Is if you find out about that school, if you have checked their goal for the year, go and watch it, or their vision and mission, they are not actualizing it. Yes, they can be having results, but the result might not be as significant as it should be because the team is not right. And what makes a team? There are characteristics of one of the characteristics of the team is that everybody must be carried along. Everybody must be carried along. So in cases like that, they are not actually a team player. That organization do not encourage the development of team, and on the ultimate, it should not encourage the development of individuals. That kind of environment is toxic for you. A leadership environment, a good education environment is ranged around building sustainable teams that can thrive. And it is those teams that makes the system to thrive because they are the structures. So and how to build a team, one of the qualities of a good team is that there is continuous information and people are being carried along. If there is not that, there's a problem. So, and then of course, they said this status quo. For instance, it occurs with educators too. That was the time I was telling, I was training about 21st century teaching methodology in a particular school. And that person said, somebody said something. And I was like, did you mean what you just said now? What the person said that, I've been using this particular method. It's an olden day method. And then my students have been getting results. At least they have C's and B's in their WAEC and the likes, in their external exam. I laughed. And I told the person, now it is possible they pass, but are you sure that they know? That was the question. Now, how have you been able to measure that they know? What are your I was able to bring that person to the person now begin to see that, Because I said, what assessment tool do you use to measure that these people really know what you told them? And how sure are you that they can reproduce it? There's a between knowing, be able to understand and put it down, and be able to reproduce it in the future. How sure are you? Then I begin to give him, if you are talking, give me fact, give me statistical data. Where is your data? So the person said, well, I said, it's because you have been used to status quo. And that's one of the problems we have in the education setting. We are so used to system and status quo that it is affecting education organization. I've observed that. I've said that in a lot of, I'll be doing a keynote in another program very soon. I've said that a lot in programs. Status quo is one of the things that is killing us in education, and things are changing. We need to change. And if you are an organization, if you are in an organization or you are a leader in that organization and you are not embracing change, dynamism, something is wrong. You are not a leader. So, in essence, what I would say is that take a critical look of that organization on what you have said. It could be you that are having issues. Observe yourself where to. Like that's why we are doing personal leadership now. Is it you that you are doing this? Then if it's not you, then take a critical look. Do you still want to be there? Because on the long run, if it's that way and you are not the problem, it will affect you as a person on the long run. So I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I won't be able to take more questions. I didn't know we are going to spend time like this. We have spent 2 solid hours. But I enjoyed every moment that we have spent. I enjoyed every moment. So thank you so much. If there are questions again, you can drop it on the group or you can give me a call. We can discuss them. If you have questions or clarifications and lives, then like I've said, the workbook, please, I will send the Word format so that we can work on it and send back to me so I can give proper feedback. I might be rushing here. That's why I don't want to give feedback, but I've screenshotted some. So I might be rushing, and I don't want a situation where we are going to rush the feedback. It's not ideal in a proper training session. It must be accurate. What's it called? So I will give feedbacks. So
hello,
work on them. Yes.
Hello, sir. How are we going to get
your
number? How are we going to get your number? Because this is not the network you're using.
Are you on the platform?
Yes, I'm on the platform.
Yes, my number is there. I'm the admin of the group.
Admin? You are
yes,
Emerald.
Emerald, yes.
It was not your face we saw yesterday evening.
You will see Emerald CEO.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my contact. Just message me. Sorry, don't mind me. Don't mind me. I have WhatsApp business. I have normal WhatsApp.
Boss, good evening.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. So, you wanted to say anything?
Because of time, but maybe I will later pass it to you.
Okay, I will appreciate that.